Friends, we on the hour, and we are happy to move on to our next session. And for our next session, we have Chris Black. And Chris Black is the founder of DBSP, Dynamic Business Startup Program, and I think it's now called the Dynamic Business Startup Project. And he is also the chairman of our community bank, Gig CFI. And we now know each other for many years. But what I was so impressed when I met him for the first time to hear about his program is not only has he developed a successful training program for entrepreneurs, which is very practical, but his successes comes from almost a market that you would normally not give much chance to succeed, and like some very rural training. And he's developed over 4,000 people in the last, or trained to over 4,000 people just in the South African context. And his concept is now also taken up by other countries, and I think it's over 14 or 15 countries. But without any further ado, we've asked Chris to come and chat to us. So the basic topic is, why do some businesses fail and reasons for that? And then he'll also introduce his program and some solutions to that. So Chris, over to you.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much, Jasper. And you can see my screen here, Jasper?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Okay, excellent. So good, is it still morning? Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be with you guys and to share what I've got to share with you. So first of all, my story, in very brief terms, I've started and run 4 of my own small businesses. 2 have been successes, and I'm quite proud of that, but 2 have been failures. And the one business failure cost me and my newly married wife at the time everything. And so, you know, you can either curl up and die in terms of failure, or else you can use failure as your teacher. And that's exactly what happened. I used failure as my teacher. And basically, this whole presentation that I'm going to give you now is born out of that experience of having had 2 failures. Then at the age of 35, I went back to university, studied education, training, and development practice. And in 1996, I started the Dynamic Business Startup Project, which we've now morphed into the Dynamic Business Startup Partners, and I'll explain why in a moment. So why did my business fail, and why did so many businesses fail? ABSA quotes a statistic, and this was a couple of years ago, but 63% of all businesses will fail within the first 2 years of operation. I mean, that is just a staggering figure. That's 2 out of every 3. And the chief reasons that I've come up with and checked with others are the following. And this is what I'm going to talk to you about for about 15 minutes, and then tell you about DBSP for the rest. People going into business without being entrepreneurial, the quality of the business idea, in other words, no real opportunity, lack of adequate research, lack of adequate knowledge on small business practice, the mismanagement of money and one's cash flow, generalist versus specialist, which creates a management crisis, the lack of effective marketing, poor or no record keeping, competition failure to adapt. In other words, you're not able to adapt to your competition. Generally, businesses fail through lack of knowledge, no foundations to run a business. Now, this is not Photoshop. What do you guys see there? A building lying on its side. Now, this is an actual event. It happened on June 27, 2009. It happened after a block of flats collapsed in China. Accident occurred Lotus River residential community in Shanghai's Nxing district. Now, this picture has fascinated me for a number of years. Why is that? And I did some research into it. And the story behind this goes as follows. The developer actually asked a bunch of friends, you know, how can I save money? And some bright spark said, well, you never see the foundations, so why not just skimp on the foundations? So this is what this guy did. He sunk these little pillars into the ground to base his entire building on. And then whether it was an earthquake or strong wind, I don't know, and the business collapsed. So anybody interested in taking residence in one of these two? No way. So this is often what happens to many businesses, is their foundations are not correct, and what they try and build on the foundation is flawed to start with. So how can you make sure this doesn't happen to you? So the first thing is, we are all built with certain talents and certain giftings and certain abilities. Some are unbelievable sports people, some are musicians, and then some are born to do business. They have the internal qualities, the gifting, inclination, personality, you name it, to make a success from business, almost from birth. And I've got this little triangle in the background for these next four statistics. 3%, that's this top portion here, are true entrepreneurs. 22% have some kind of entrepreneurial inclination. Now, let me stop there. True entrepreneurs, they will start a business no matter what. They will generally make a success of it no matter what. The 22%ers will generally be able to make a success in business, but they need a lot of training, a lot of coaching and that. And especially the closer they get towards this 15% cut line, the more training, the more mentoring they need. Then the 15% are opportunists, they're chance takers. I'd like to state that this is where your criminal element will sit. We can discuss that later. And 60% are simply job seekers. So to get them involved in business, complete and total waste of time, money, and resources. So to know if you have the right gifting and to be an entrepreneur, we've developed an entrepreneurial inclination assessment, and that's just a website that you can go to for that. I'll put it up at the end as well. Now, the second reason for business failure is the identification of authentic business opportunity. You know, I've been doing this for the last 24 years. I've never had a single person come up to me and say, Chris, I've got a terrible business idea. It's not written on, it's not, it's not valued on the piece of paper that's written on, but it'll make me a couple of million. Every single person comes out, I've got a fantastic, fantastic business idea. And you ask them a couple of questions and you find it's all built on sandcastles in their head. So 4 criteria need to be there. First of all, you've got to identify a need. There's got to be a want in the community, or your business has got to sort out a problem from your client's perspective, not from your perspective, from your client's perspective. Then you have to find significant numbers of people who are willing and able to pay the price that you're charging for your product. Next, you've got to do something about your competition. Low competition, no competition, you've got to grab market share. And then finally, the know-how to effectively and efficiently market your product and services. The next reason why businesses fail is lack of research. So research is key and critical to the success of any business. Research provides all the facts, all the data, all the information, the fuel, if you like, to make good decisions. And research will sort out a false assumption from true fact. And often we get false assumptions, we put it into practice, and we expect that it's going to make money. But in reality, we need to seek the truth, and that's what research will do for you. But research scares a hang of a lot of people. How do I do it? Where do I go? Where do I find the information? What questions do I ask? Now, because of my business failure, I realized that the reason that it failed was 10 fingers pointed back to me, was not doing the research and had not done the research on the business. So that's why when we put the programs together, we strongly biased it on research. And in fact, our intellectual property is taking the theory, turning it into a bunch of research questions so that you are researching the business idea. And we've got it online in our Geo platform. Moment. Thank you. Research leads to developing good business plans. We're going to talk about that. Then, in terms of getting trained, understanding the foundationals upon which a business is built is absolutely vital. And that's why I drew this picture. There's your business. You need to have these solid foundations. You need to know the stuff. about business. Don't try to open a business flying by the seat of your pants. You need to get training before you start a business. Then you need to manage your money well. This is probably one of the most or the biggest causes of business failure. Poor financial management, not understanding finances, leaving the job to an employee, unsupervised and unmanaged staff. Now, a friend of mine lost over 500,000 Rand to an accountant or a bookkeeper that he trusted. And the person put in a couple of transactions to check whether he knew what was going on. And when he didn't pick it up, they took him to the cleaners. And it's only when he moved his business did he find evidence that they'd stolen this money from him. And he didn't understand finances of his business. He didn't supervise and didn't manage his staff. You've got to be doing that. Then undercapitalization, simply not having enough money to keep the business going, particularly in the lean times. And not managing your debtors and your creditors book, hugely important. And then this one is probably the most important. Owners not separating their business money from their private. I cannot tell you how many people I come across, and they think they have the mindset that says, if I've paid off all my expenses, whatever I've left in the business is mine. And so they basically end up in something called the feast and famine principle. I wish I had time to explain that to you guys. It's a very important principle, but you've got to see your business and yourself as two separate entities, you, your business, and stop robbing from your business. Then other causes, poor record keeping, selling on credit, cultural issues, family helping themselves to stock. This is huge in the Black cultures and in many cultures along the African continent, where the family can just waltz in, take your stock out of where you've got it, and just to use it, particularly if it's perishable, like food and drink. And then the owner stealing from the business, you yourself taking stock without paying for it. Remember that your stock is owned by the business. So you need to learn to manage your money well. Then the specialist versus generalist crisis. Now, most people get into business because of a skill that they have. This is what I do. This is how I do it. I'm very good at this. I'm a fantastic lawyer. I'm a fantastic doctor. I'm a fantastic plumber. I'm a fantastic welder, whatever the case may be. And so they really spend 90% or 80% of their time focused on what they do. And then the other parts of the business, they basically neglect and do it every now and again. And so that leads to an incredibly unbalanced business. And so literally what you need to do is you need to put everything that you're doing in perspective and devote the amounts of time, equal amounts of time if necessary, to all the different areas. Now, of course, that puts a lot of pressure, particularly on a business where that is a 1 or 2 people show. So the solution is to hire people in, but this is costly. And of course, you need a solid management policy and procedures in order to do that. It is so difficult to go from a 1-person or 2-person business to a business that employs people. It just takes different skills, and you need to learn all of that, those type of skills. 7, 8, and 9. First of all, you need to develop an effective marketing strategy. A clear marketing strategy, absolutely vital to outsmart your competition. You've got to have an internet and social media, important, absolutely huge. And somebody was talking about that yesterday. I can't remember exactly who. On Friday. But it's absolutely vital that you get your internet and marketing side sorted on the internet. But you can waste tons and tons of money on all sorts of things, Google AdWords and Facebook and all of this stuff. And you need to really get, know what you're doing as far as that is concerned. Then innovative, you've got to be innovative. If you're not innovative and you just humdrum, you've lost your vital edge. And it's absolutely key that you have your vital edge. And then you need to keep good records, the lifeblood of any business. You need to develop systems that are proven to work. And we have actually on our GEO platform, GEO's logo in the corner there stands for Global Entrepreneurs Organization. I helped start that with my partner, Van Romijn. We've set up a full record-keeping ERP system on our platform. ERP stands for Enterprise Reporting and Planning. And so we've got, as you're learning, we've got an ERP system that goes along with that. I'll talk about that more in a couple of minutes. And then your ability to deal with competition. If you're not adapting to where your competition is, you will actually die, or your business will die. Let me rather say, not you. Okay, so how to avoid these business failures? So you need to get tested. You need to know that you have entrepreneurial tendencies, and there's the website. You need to come up with real, authentic business opportunities, do lots and lots of adequate research on your business ideas. And by the way, research is not only restricted to before starting the business, you need to be doing ongoing research. And you need to get trained, get knowledge. If you don't know what you're doing, go seek out a course, go and do as much as you can to up your knowledge on an ongoing basis. Learn to manage your money and your cash flow. Become a generalist, not a specialist. Have an effective marketing strategy. Keep good records and adapt to your competition, thus beating them. Okay, so where do you get such skills and where do you learn things like that? Okay, Dynamic Business Startup Partners runs practical, life-changing training that provides necessary education. So not only are we teaching you what you need to know, but we're also lessening the risk of business failure by helping you and guiding you along a process of doing real research on real business ideas as you go through the training. We provide a framework from which you can start a business with confidence. We have a money-making activity, which was literally saying, get out there, buy a product, sell the product, make some of your own money so you can build the confidence that you need in order to, because sales is the absolute hub of your business. If you're not doing sales, you may as well forget it and you may as well stop your business right now. And then we have a methodology that's helped, as Jasper said, over 10,500 people in 22 different nations to start up a business that sustains and runs on the long term. And we have an entire system for successful implementation and support via our Geo platform. So that's from assessment, through training, through research, doing your own research on business ideas, culminating in your own business plan, to mentoring, to running the business via the ERP platform. And I hope to be able to speak more about that in a few moments. Who are we? So we started in 1996, and the programs were developed in South Africa by small business development professionals who had over 40 years of experience for poverty conditions. South Africa was just coming out of apartheid, and we realized that there are millions of people that are not well educated, not going to get jobs. And so we put together the first of our programs called the Basic Business Startup Program, particularly for people in poverty conditions. So the theory is pitched at a level that where people with low education can cope. And then, of course, we have 6 other programs for a higher level of education. We trained over 4,600 South Africans, 29 different areas and communities. Probably 62% are in business today. Then in 2007, God gave me the most amazing opportunity to get the DBSP introduced to Kenya, and it's still running in Kenya. Over 5,400 Kenyans have been trained, and 88% is the figures coming out of Kenya are in business. Then between January 2009 and December 2014, we introduced to 15 other African countries. And more or less at the same time, we introduced the program to Armenia, Lebanon, Nepal, Indonesia, and Myanmar, which is ex-Burma. Of course, no, not of course, let me say this. The program's not running effectively in all of these countries because our model has changed from one where we do the training to a partnership model, and I'll talk about that in a moment. From 2018 onwards, we've run extensive training in the Middle East, in Jordan and in Tunis. We've done extensive train-the-trainer programs, and our focus has been on combining classroom-based learning with the platform to do the Geo platform to do the research. And that has paved the way for us to be able to provide this training on an absolutely virtual basis, where we can do the training over Zoom and over the internet as now, and that's what we're doing. So there are two groups in South Africa that are doing that. And it's really fun. Benefits of going through the training: the course is highly practical. So you will not only be learning essential theory, but what you need to know to start up a business, but you will also be putting it into practice, putting the theory into practice right as you learn. And that is doing research, as I've said, and making money. If you do not have an idea, we'll help you to start up an idea, help you to get an idea rather. You'll gain a lot of confidence. We have got so many testimonials of people who say, you know what, we started a business, or rather, we went on this training course, I studied at university level, entrepreneurship and small business startup and marketing and all this stuff. And they said, but we got confidence to be in business because of your training, not what we learned at university. And we're in business today because of your training. And yes, we can use what we learned at university to help us, but it's really the confidence that they were lacking. And this goes across nations, across countries, get exactly the same feedback from students. You have a measure of certainty that your business idea will work. Just to drill down a little bit there, we ask you to research a minimum of 2 business ideas, if not 3. As you're going through the training, so that at the end you've done full research on 2 or 3 business ideas. You will the facts and figures will tell you which is more likely to work and which isn't. And then you'll gain essential tools that give you the edge over your competition, especially our ERP. So the ERP not only is a record-keeping system, but is a full planning system using Gantt charts and that type of thing. And there's a whole mentoring side that's connected to it as well. And hence you'll have the benefits of a coach and mentor to assist you to plan your business and to put it into operation. 4 legs on which our training sits. The first leg is the identification of ongoing business opportunities, conducting research on those opportunities, making money whilst you're in training, and teaching you how to make money and the skills of making money after the training, and then starting up and running the business in a growth-producing fashion. This is just a schematic of what the training looks like: pre-training selection, the actual training itself, and then the follow-up points which happen 1 year after the training has completed. So, do students really benefit from this training? So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. This is the part I've wanted to get to because it's so fun telling these stories. Lihle and Miya, Bergville, Kwazulu, Natal. I had the privilege of training all these stories myself, all of these people myself that I'm going to tell the stories about. She was orphaned at the age of 22 years old. Lost her father and mother to HIV/AIDS. She had 3 brothers and sisters to take care of. She was desperate. And I remember when she came on the course, so we asked the students at that time to bring 50 Rand. These days it's 100 Rand minimum to make money with. And she started selling a few bottles of beer. Now, I'm not going to say whether I agreed with what she was doing or not, but it's her story. So she started selling beer. By the end of the course, she was selling crates and crates of beer. Then she set up a shebeen, which is this building over here. And then one day she overheard customers saying, look, we need to stop drinking now. We need to go across town and we need to buy some groceries. So she thought, wait a minute, why don't I set up a little spaza shop? And there she is in her spaza shop. It's this building here. Then later on, she heard somebody saying, you know, we're really hungry. Where can we get food other than what you're selling in the spaza shop? She thought, a restaurant. So she set up a restaurant, and there she is. There's a restaurant in the background. She put her brothers and sisters through school. She took care of their needs, put food on the table, roof over their head. I am so, so proud of this 22-year-old woman. And it just shows you, if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything. Likewise, this guy, oh my gosh, and if ever you're in Cape Town, you have got to go on this guy's tour. Sibusiso Banda, he is a reformed criminal. In 2001, he was Cape Town's most wanted criminal. Cash in transit heists, you name it. In prison, God got a hold of him, changed his life around, and then when he came out of prison, he went on the DBSP training, and he and 3 partners are running a very successful tour company on the Cape Flats, which is gaining immense popularity. Here's some pictures of people eating in Khayelitsha, I think. There's a braai stand in Khayelitsha. You actually walk through the shacks. It's an amazing tour. I've been on it myself. Just a picture of some of the people that have been on it. He says the following. I have been on other entrepreneurial courses that just taught theory. I love it that with the DBSP, you started to make money immediately. And I've learned so many things on the DBSP course. I thought I knew the theory about business startup from other courses, but DBSP training proved me wrong. I am now on the right track. And he just recently bought these 2 cars for the business. This Innocent from Ekurhuleni, also a young student. She's now running 4 businesses, a school transportation business. She's running a school tuck shop business, and she's running a catering business, and she now has her own spaza shop. She went from a turnover of 9,000 Rand a month to 56,000 Rand a month in a 14-month period. And she provides employment for 3 people. She said, the training was really helpful to me. It made me realize I don't need a lot of money to start up a business. I learned so many really helpful things, like what to do in order to keep my business running. I definitely know that this training will impact my life, and this program will definitely help me improve my business a lot. Sipho Malazi, he took his business, which was not doing that well before the training, and he built it up to a business that has 350,000 Rands worth of assets. So you might think, well, 350,000 Rands worth of assets, so what? He did it cash. Every single cent he earned on the training. So he started up his business here on the taxi rank, one of the biggest taxi ranks on the East Rand in Johannesburg. He first bought his bakkie, his pickup truck here. Then he bought the trailer. Then he bought a paraffin tanker. Then he bought a food, where he could do some food vending at sports events. I'd also have a smile on my face like that if I'd built my business from 0 to 350,000 Rands worth of assets cash. And today is employing a minimum of 3 people, and his business is just thriving. This guy, just outside of the country, Hamzer, has his product right here. That's the one that's pictured over there. This is wonderful peanut butter. He started making peanut butter on the training. He also started a language school that has gained popularity in Jordan like you cannot believe. He is so run off his feet. He probably employs now upwards of 20 people. He says this about the training. DBSP training was wonderful, definitely helped me to start a business. I learned a huge amount. Our trainer went out of his way to help us. I learned so much from him and his experience. I had some ideas before coming to the course, but do not know where to start. The training helped me focus. Now I have a plan. Now I will succeed. And this guy will easily make a couple of million. Easy. Then this lady I had to put in because her story is just absolutely amazing. Philistus from Nairobi, Kenya. This is her with her 2 parents. And for 2 generations, this family lived in the squalor of the slums of Nairobi. Now, if anybody's been to Nairobi and looked at Kibera, the biggest slum in the world, it's just filthy. She started selling scrap metal whilst on the training. And very shortly after that, she and her entire family got out of the slums of Nairobi, never to return ever again. She says with a huge smile on her face, we are now free. It's just a fantastic story. All right, so what is DBSP looking for from the virtual trade fair? So first of all, I want to spend some time talking about the partnerships. So we have, as I said, we've changed our name, Dynamic Business Startup Project, to Dynamic Business Startup Partners, because we're all about partnering. So with the partners, we can go much further, much quicker. So partners can take what we've done and run with it, serving their own community. So we want to set up in partnership huge amounts of NGOs, CBOs, churches, you name it, across the globe, so that they, who are in touch with their constituents, in touch with their communities, can offer this training to them. So that for us is hugely important, and that's our number 1 priority. Number 2 is people who want to attend one of our DBSP programs. We're taking our next intake for our virtual program on Zoom and on the Geo platform. And you can find this in our store at the virtual trade fair. Then micro businesses who do not have a record keeping system, can sign up to use the ERP system on the platform. It is. I must tell you, it is a basic program. It's not going to compete with the likes of Pascal Sage or anything like that, or maybe even QuickBooks. But it's for that person who's trying to do record keeping on their own with a pen and paper. It's ideally built for them. And then, of course, it has a whole planning system behind it. So if a micro business does not have a record keeping system, this is one at a fraction of the cost of what others do. We actually work on a membership based setup here after the training. And then anybody who can help us develop and expand our offerings, we'd love to have a chat. So just to look at the platform really quickly, and then I'm basically done. So this is what the platform looks like. The assessments are there, training here. That's a list of all the training modules. Ideation, where we help you to ideate your business, then research, which leads to this graphic at the bottom is the business ideas that one student had, and the chapters in terms of writing their own business plan. And I can show you this to you live if anybody's interested in that. And then this is the ERP system where you've got you can put in your products, purchases, sales. You got a cash book, you got an inventory book, and that type of thing. And that's all under the money making tab. So I think I'm going to stop here and just allow you, Jasper, to questions or comments or anything like that. And please visit us at the Virtual Trade Fair. And those are some of the websites that you can go and check out. Thank you. Unmute, Jasper.
Thank you, Chris. Like always, we can't fault you on enthusiasm, and it's easy to be enthusiastic if you also have the testimonies to share. So let's start opening up the platform. While you were busy, quite a few people commented about almost the discrepancy between all the so-called official courses that train you officially on doing business, but then none of those people end up being in business, versus your experience of first of all making sure that the person has an entrepreneurial inclination and then train them from there. So just maybe comment on the importance of being trained versus the theory.
Okay, thanks, Jasper. That's a very interesting question. One of the philosophies that we have in our business basically says, and in our business model, basically says, if you're not a practicing entrepreneur running your own business, you've got absolutely no right to train another person to start and run a business. And so who are we? We're a bunch of trainers who just love to train others. And we go by our own experiences. We say, guys, this is not going to work because we've been there, we've done it. Now, a lot of other courses are offered by academics and less academics. This is not an academic punching thing, but forum, but a lot of academics who've never run a business in their life before. And they're teaching a whole bunch of the latest theory, which might be great, but if you cannot put that theory into practice, you're wasting your time. Did I answer you, Jasper?
Yes, and we've got a comment here from Gavin that says, make sure your swimming coach wears a costume.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well done, Gavin. Can I use that, by the way? Can I use that? It's not proprietary. Excellent.
Chris, can you stop sharing your screen so we can see everybody's faces?
Yeah. Let me do that. So let me just go there.
Easier for me. All right, folks, please put up your hands if you have a question and or a comment to make. Or let us see a show of your hands. But you can literally just open up your mic and start talking. I know Trevor Kettler, you had some comments right there in the early part of it. So why don't you just give us your comment?
Yeah, thanks, Jasper. So I think what you were saying is how to get that market share. I just made a comment. One of the best ways is to be the expert. But just one thing I want to ask you, Chris. Your training are there any soft skills attached, like presentation skills, selling skills, negotiation, etc.?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and thanks for that question, Trevor. So, you can roughly break the course down into three parts. The ideation stage, which teaches you about what is a business and how to come up with business ideas and kind of a pathway that you take towards setting up a business. Then the meat of the course basically talks about your marketing strategy and your record keeping and your management strategy and your break-even points and SWOT analysis and this type of thing. But at the end of the course, you've got negotiation skills, you've got selling skills, you've got communication skills, and some of the other soft skills that you would need, problem solving and that type of thing. So those are basically the three elements of the training.
All right, Chris, we have another question here from Ryan Julian, who says, do you offer financial aid for new businesses?
Short answer is no. We teach you how to start on very little capital. That's the short answer. However, there is a longer answer, is that we, through partnering, we actually do try to find money, or try to put you in touch with others that will do money, or offer money. So, let me just make a plug here for Generational Inheritance Group. So Generational Inheritance Group is one of our partners where people can come in, they can save money, and then they can borrow money up to 3 times their initial investment, interest-free. So that is another way. So basically, when you start up your business, we suggest a joint gig. Start saving, because businesses go through curves, and a certain opportunity will require more capital, and through gig you could get a loan that could just push you into that next category, a business category, in terms of the spend that you might need. So I hope that answers you.
I will get feedback. Ryan, why don't you open up your mic and ask your question directly?
Yeah.
Because...
Cool. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, good, good, Ryan.
So I was asking, do you offer API integration into your ERP?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. In fact, let me say this. Let me just give you a bit of background. I hope my business partner is not going to trample me for saying this. But basically, we have not built the ERP system. We've got an external ERP system that we were managed to get at an incredibly low price. And all of the integration between there and the platform. By the way, our platform is run on the backbone of Moodle, which is a learning management system. And so we are doing ERP APIs all the time. If you ask me what is an API and how do you do it, I'm going to say, well, no idea. But my business partner, Van, is an absolute buff with computers, and so he takes care of all of that. So a lot of the stuff, what we're busy working now is the integrated business planning system, where you can actually run your business, plan that all out, Gantt charts and that type of thing. And he's doing all the APIs with that. So certainly, if you've got something in mind, give us a shout.
And do you charge that as a service, or is it then a separate contract with the individuals who we would be pushing the data through that you would then have? Do you charge, like if I wanted to do an API integration, would it cost me and the client a separate fee? How do you guys approach that? Okay,
we'd have to talk about that. It'd probably be a small initial cost in that. But generally speaking, what happens when people use the platform, we generally tie them into a membership where they are paying on a monthly basis for the usage of the platform, and to get to all of our tools. And that can vary depending on how many tools they actually want in their kit bag, so to speak. But certainly, if you've got an interesting application, give us a shout, and let's see what we can do together.
Okay, thanks, Chris. I see we have a comment here from Veronica. Veronica is also one of our chamber members, and she's a budding entrepreneur, and she says very familiar with Kibera in Nairobi. So Veronica, why don't you open up your mic and just give us some of your comments on what you picked up from this presentation, and maybe you've got a question or two for Chris.
Hi, Chris. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. This presentation was actually very, very good. And the most, what I love about it is because your program is focused on they say forgotten billions at the base of the pyramid. Right. And it is bound to change a lot of lives, as we know, unemployment in Africa is huge. And the best way to change this is to create as many business people or entrepreneurs as much as possible. And I think your program can actually do that. And your approach right now of building partners can actually accelerate that. Absolutely. So I'm from East Africa. I'm from Tanzania. I've lived in Kenya as well. And I'm very familiar because I know what you're talking about. And I know
you have that.
Yes, and Phyllis, the lady, the life-changing that business has done to her is I can imagine. I understand. So well done. Yeah. I will be in touch, actually.
She's lovely. She's actually gone on to become a trainer and this type of thing. So I have a personal goal, and I'm coming up to the age of 60. I'll be 60 next year. So, you know, a couple of years still left on the planet, I think. But my goal is to see 1 million people trained before I leave this earth. So I need tons and tons of partners all over the globe.
All right. Donovan, I see you came on. Do you want to ask a question or make a comment? Unmute yourself.
Morning, everyone. I think I dealt with my questions during a previous session we had by a geek. It was basically about if the company is already existing, what sort of support is being offered by Chris's company. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you for that, Donovan. So one doesn't necessarily need to go through the whole training process in order to receive the whole mentoring side and to make use of the tools on the platform. And so literally, we offer mentoring sessions and this type of thing. And then all of the mentoring that we do is captured onto the platform, so the mentors have a record of what is taking place in the business, and then to help the students, the ERP system is linked to the whole mentoring system, so the mentors can know exactly how to mentor one. So that's something that we offer. I hope that answers your question.
All right, everybody's muted now. Gracie, I see your mic is open. Do you have a question or a comment to give Chris?
Yes, but she doesn't have a mic.
Okay, she doesn't have a mic. All right, is there any, if you have a question or a comment to make, just put up your hand on the side. Then, Chris, in the meantime, I just want to carry on with your comment to Donovan there. So the nature of your program is, if I can almost call it the phases, would be, first of all, do the entrepreneurial test to see that you have the skill. I remember from earlier discussions, there's then an initial interview, if I'm not mistaken, where, or it used to be.
No, that still carries on, yes, but yeah.
Okay, so there's the initial interview to almost just set the expectations that the student knows what's expected of him. Then your course runs into modules 12, if I'm not mistaken.
12, absolutely correct, yeah.
12 modules, and then every module is then very hands-on and practical. And a student is also not allowed on the course if he doesn't have seed capital.
Correct, yeah. So the seed capital is a minimum of 100 Rand.
And then that's seed capital, so that literally from day one, with your 3 various business ideas, you then experiment to see which one makes you the most, which then finally ends up into your final business plan. And then after the business plan, there's a period after which you then have a follow-up mentoring kind of thing. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's a follow-up mentoring and coaching system which lasts for a minimum of a year. And you know, you can step that up. So you know, one is so if one needs more mentoring and coaching. Yeah, so let me just talk through those stages there. Basically, you not talking about the assessment phase. By the way, the assessment will cost you about 100 Rand. It'll be literally take you an hour to go through. In fact, 80 Rand. We've got it on the special, 80 Rand. But the money-making activity of 100 Rand, so it's unlikely that that's going to be your business startup. So you do that on the side and plan your other business ideas going forward. However, we've had many, like you know, this business idea. The guy was making peanut butter. He said, "What can I do? You know, how can I make money?" And they were making peanut butter at home, and so he started to research this and make some money with it, and now he's got, you know, it's a very good label, and it's into a very good brand rather, and it's into some of the stores in Amman. So that's an example of a money-making activity that transformed into a business. But his other business idea of the language school was what he really wanted to do. That was the one he really wanted to get his teeth stuck into, so to speak. So now he's, you know, along the lines of gig, and you should smile at this, Jasper, he's created two income streams. And so and that's what we say so often, you know, the more income streams that you have, the more chances you've got of success, because if one business goes bad or falls off the rails, it doesn't put your entire future at risk. Basically, you've got a couple of income streams, and you know, you're making money from all of them. I put that into practice myself. For instance, you know, one of the things my wife and I do is we breed dogs. And so we've got that as an income stream. I'm a hobbyist beekeeper, so I've got some income coming in from honey. I do Neolife products every now and again, and so, you know, it's very important that we do this. So when your business is it has been fully researched and culminating in a business plan. And by the way, the platform is open for you to do multiple research on an ongoing basis. So you can be 3 years hence and still be able to research another business idea that you've got. And so you're not restricted to only 3, and so you can do as many as you want. So and then the mentoring carries on after that. You muted still, Jasper? Muted.
Okay,
Oh,
Trevor,
muted. Yeah.
I see your mic is open. Have you got a comment to make?
Yeah, listen, I'm sure Chris will appreciate that we're all multitasking, and I chose his session to actually multitask in the background, but it was so crisp, so clear, delivered with such confidence that I didn't even have to look at the presentation. I knew that this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. I just want to compliment Chris on such a phenomenal presentation, and I didn't have one eye on it.
Thank you, Trevor. That means a lot.
Right.
If one is passionate about something, one can speak with authority, and that's if I'm not passionate about this, I'm passionate for absolutely nothing.
I think that comment nailed it, Chris. That's what I pick up from you. This passion comes from experience, from someone who's been there, done that, got every t-shirt, washed them 1,000 times, and has come out and is delivering that experience that people need to know. And there was a great question asked somewhere in the middle. What about people that do all these MBAs and CAs and all of that sort of thing? It's probably something you should comment. In fact, you did comment on it, that you've bumped into college professors. I seem to hear you saying that. And they talk of a stage on theory and have not been there in the practical environment. So you actually did touch on it.
Correct. Yeah. So let me just make a comment on that again. You know, university teaches us a whole bunch of theory that basically is useless unless you're going to put it into practice, unless you know how to put it into practice. And again, this is the problem I have with the academia, is you go through a year's worth or maybe 2 years worth of studies, and only then at the end do you put it into practice. And you should be putting into practice every single day, because that gives relevance to what you're doing. You can say, well, I tested that and it didn't work. So how do we do this? And either your premise is faulty or the theory is faulty, and you've got to test the both. And so we hammer our students. I'm sorry to say that to everybody who's a prospective student. You're making money. Why didn't you make money? What happened? And we debrief it every single day. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What could you do right the next time? And so therefore we're coaching people in this whole process of making money. So at the end, you know, and by the way, course fees, people actually pay off their course fees quite a lot by actually going on the course and making money. You know, so you invest a small amount of money to begin with as a registration, but then you actually end up making the money to pay off the course fees. I mean, what better?
All right, folks, we're coming to the close of this session. So I have one more question that I can allow. Then we need to switch over. Gavin, you.
Julian.
Yeah, Chris absolutely agreed, and I'm very much into the practical side. And I think the worst thing that ever happened was the getting rid of trade schools, where people went 6 months, work 6 months, etc. However, I think we need to be careful of very dangerous territory. Education is vital, and an education actually gives you the ability to research and the ability to understand concepts to a greater degree. So I'm seeing some comments, our education system is running. I agree with the fact that our education system is broken, but it can be fixed and is extremely necessary. If we want to fix South Africa's problem, education is the only answer.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I love your comment there, Gavin. And your comment basically is bring back the practical section where you're actually taking a guy, you're teaching him these skills, and he's putting it into practice, you know, immediately.
And
you know,
can I agree with Gavin? An entrepreneurial CA with an MBA can head up international listed companies. So an entrepreneur with that education on top of it, who understands these concepts, takes corporates through the roof.
Absolutely, absolutely. But that same entrepreneur without any education is literally setting themselves up for failure. And you know, the guy with tremendous lots of education can't put it into practice. So it's a marriage. It's a good marriage. You know, hand in glove stuff. You need both education, training. You're going to be developed.
Chris, there's a question about education. When is your next course being run?
Well, we're open. We're taking enrollments right now. So there, we've got a very special running. You know, so go to the trade fair. You can pick yourself up the course basically at half price. For the show. And so book yourselves on, whoever is out there in the Facebook community, book yourselves on. Go to you can see you know, go to the virtual trade fair, look up the DBSP store, and you can see the stuff there.